Yes, everyone, how are we doing? And welcome to the post-match reaction for Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. The 24-25 Premier League season finishes in style with a big win away at Craven Cottage. Look, in this video, I'm going to be discussing the Fulham City game, of course. I will touch on the season as a whole, however, not in much detail, because in a few days' time, I'm going to make a new video discussing City's entire season. Was it a success? Was it a saviour? We've got to look at the entire thing. So that will be in a whole separate video, however. We'll touch on it a little bit towards the end. And I will quickly just mention before I get into the start of the video, my matchday vlog for the Fulham game, I was there. It is out now on my channel. It's doing well so far, so I appreciate if you've watched it already, give it a thumbs up. Go and give it a watch if you're not already. For me, one of the best ones of the season. It was one of the best away-ins of the season. One of the best games of the season. So, of course, the matchday vlog, I feel like, did the game and the atmosphere and everything about it justice. So yeah, go give it a watch if you've not already. And now let's get into discussing this football match. Now look, coming into this game, it was a little bit tense, to be fair, because look, there was a lot riding on this game. City needed a point. Of course, a win would have been ideal, and it was ideal, but just a point was needed for City to get Champions League football. And if we wouldn't have got that point and other results went in the favour, which weren't too unrealistic. Villa beating United at the time didn't seem unrealistic. Newcastle beating Everton at the time, it didn't look too unrealistic. So we were looking at the other results thinking, if they go the way they need to and City don't get a point out of this game, drop a disaster, Fulham beat us, we could end up playing Europa League football. And as much as at some point in the season, Champions League football looked far out of reach, we were on a terrible run. We can't, this club, the standard we've set now, what Pep Guardiola's done, Pep needs to be managing a Champions League football club. I seen Haaland's interview on Match of the Day last night. He says, I need to be playing Champions League football. The players at this club need to be in the Champions League. So if we had dropped out into the Europa League after the stick we've given that lot for years, watching City on a Wednesday night, you play Thursday because you know the rest. We couldn't have had it. So yeah, a point was all that was needed. And to be fair, like I said, there was tension ahead of it because we knew what was on the line. But the game didn't end up feeling tense at all. City were comfortable, were dominant, we controlled the game, it was a comfortable win. And the other results, Newcastle lost to Everton, Villa lost to United, Forest lost to Chelsea. So, even if we got battered by Fulham, we'd still finished third or fourth maybe. So we were safe anyway. But I'm glad we finished off the season with a win. For a season that's been so inconsistent, so up and down, you don't know what Manchester City team's going to turn up. The one that turned up against Fulham was a brilliant side. I think head to toe, City were brilliant. Ederson, potentially his last ever City game, and he was phenomenal. A few big saves when, it was still 0-0 or just 1-0. Fulham, if they'd have got that goal, they could have got into the game, could have got back into it. And Ederson stops everything that was in his way. I thought he was brilliant. The entire back four, I've been critical at Núñez quite a lot this season, but against Fulham, the runs he was making, his passing, his movement, even his defensive. Adama Traore, you could have pointed out that matchup at the start of the game and said, look, he might be in trouble. The pace of Traore, the power of him, the runs. Núñez, as much as he's a decent footballer, he's not defensively equipped to deal with a fantastic winger. And Adama Traore, historically, has had some of his best football matches against Manchester City. So you could have looked at that matchup and been worried. I was, but it didn't need to be. Núñez was decent and Traore was shocking. Honestly shocking. Probably his worst game he's ever had against City. So Núñez was solid. The rest of the back four, Gvardiol at left back, that was the Gvardiol we've had all season. For me, City's player of the season. I'll say it. I mean it. He was brilliant. Akanji's best game since coming back from injury. The Ruben Diaz I've hold, putting his body in front of the, on the line, blocking everything that comes in his way. He was brilliant. Nico Gonzalez got his start in midfield. I've been saying it, haven't I? If you've been listening or watching, I've been saying it. I want to see him play. And now one of the things I'm so excited to see next season is how him and Rodri pair up in the midfield together, because we've not seen it yet, have we? We've not seen it. Well, at the back end of Bournemouth game, but not a full match. Maybe even Club World Cup we might see it. Obviously, I don't know what's going to go on in there. But I'm looking forward to that. I think they'll work wonders together. Absolute wonders. I thought Nico was confident, controlled the midfield, set the pace. I thought he was brilliant. Gundogan was like the Gundogan of old. That overhead kick, Ilkay. That was the Gundogan we had before Barcelona. It hasn't been the most wonderful return. People could argue that, look, it probably wasn't the right thing to do. He's not been fantastic for City this season. I think actually back end of the season, he's picked up a bit. He's looked a bit more comfortable. But yeah, that was brilliant. It was a work of art by Gundogan. The instinct finish, the skill to pull that off, brilliant. On the under part of the bar and in the back of the net, brilliant. And then Bernardo Silva, also fantastic. Another one like Gundogan, who I feel like this season has really struggled, and it's the first time we've seen Bernardo struggle really across his whole time at City for more than a few games, because he's been so consistent, played so much football under Guardiola. He's nearly in our top 10 appearances in Manchester City's history. That's how much football he's played for City. Mr. Reliable he's been. And this season he's been a bit inconsistent, been a bit hit and miss, struggled. And, past couple months, I think he's been brilliant, been one of City's best players. And again, once again at Fulham, outstanding. And then the front three of Marmoush, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland. Marmoush and Doku, effective in what they did. Thought they both played decent. And Erling Haaland, of course, ended up on the score sheet. I know it was from the penalty spot, but it was nice that, he's finished the season with a goal. Finishes on 22 goals in the Premier League, which, considering the amount of games he's missed through injury, is not bad at all. I thought he was decent yesterday, Haaland. Put himself about well. Probably could have got another goal. He had a decent chance with the header. But yeah, finished the game. He finishes the City season with a goal. He's the man who got it. We were all chanting when the penalty was given, give it to Ederson, give it to Ederson, give it to Ederson. But he didn't listen. Imagine he would have given it, especially if that said his last game. Come on, should have given it him. It is scored. We know what he's like from the penalty spot. But anyway, the main thing was we got the goal, we finished 2-0, and the season finishes there. And look, of course, one of the things that made this game so beautiful was Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, he makes every game beautiful, that man, don't he? But yeah, he didn't start his final ever game for Manchester City, which he was somewhat fitting because his first ever game for City, he came off the bench away at Selhurst this time, away at Craven Cottage. He hit 75th minute. Pep brings him on. Honestly, wow, what a moment. The away end, absolutely bouncing. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. And then at the end of the game, the scenes of just Haaland pushing Kev to the fans. There was a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe even, where Kev was just, his name was being sung. He's there cheering the fans and that, thanking us and everything. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be us thanking him, which we kind of were, weren't we? But what a player. What a player he's been for City. That was his final ever game in a City shirt because, of course, he's not playing the Club World Cup. And I know we did the proper goodbye against Bournemouth where he had his ceremony after it and the entire Etihad Stadium was there for him. There wasn't an empty seat in the home end. No one left early for Kev there. And it was, I felt privileged actually to be his final ever game, get that official goodbye. I'm saying being blessed to watch his last ever game, being blessed to watch Kevin De Bruyne. I feel fortunate to watch Kevin De Bruyne. There's going to be future generations of City fans where, for example, what I've been told about the story of Colin Bell and Francis Lee by my granddad and my dad and stuff like that, and that'll be me in the future going, oh, Kevin De Bruyne. So you're the best player I've ever seen, because that's what he is for me, the best player I've ever seen put on that shirt. These players that we love and adore, some of them heroes, your Zaballetas, your Agueros, your David Silvas, your Companies, your Yaya Toures. I could go on. I'm not going to, but I could go on. But for me, the most talented footballer who's ever put on that shirt, absolutely King Kevin De Bruyne. So yeah, it was emotional. It was nice. It was beautiful to see his send off, and just sort of thank the players for the effort they've put in this season. Like I said, I'm not going to go too heavy into the season review. That'll be in a few days' time. But it's been tricky. And to be fair, as much as we've had bad spells, you can't fault the effort from a lot of these players. They've worked hard to get things back. Pep Guardiola, this was a crisis season, and we've finished third in the Premier League table. Got to an FA Cup final. Yeah, it didn't go great last week, but look, considering the point we were at one point in the season, I think it was 1 win in 13. It was an absolute disaster. To finish third in the Premier League, and to finish on more wins than Arsenal Football Club when it's supposed to be their season. I know it always is, but it was supposed to be their season. The season that City were going to drop off, it was supposed to be theirs. We finished with more Premier League wins than them. Crisis season for City, but an unbelievable achievement for most of us. So just a credit to Guardiola and these players and where this club has got to. I will just touch on that away end though. For me, I've done quite a few aways this season. Paris, Chelsea, Villa, Palace. I think there's a couple more in there. That Forest, there's a few that I can't think of. That just not coming from straight to my head. But that Fulham, I think for me was the best away end I've been a part of this season. It was absolutely incredible. I've still got that song ringing in my head. Ruben Amorim, he's never gonna win again. They're crying in the Stretford end. The Reds are going down. Ruben Amorim, honestly, absolutely bouncing away. And I said I love Fulham because of the setup of the stadium, the area around it. The concourse isn't great, I'll admit that, but I mean, I was so high up. If you've not seen, as I said, if you've not seen a match day, go give it a watch. Honestly, I'm not just saying this guy made it. I've been pretty honest when I don't think. I mean, there's been times at the games this season where I've just not made one. I've started it and thought this ain't even worth putting out, but that one is worth a watch. But if you have a look where I'm sat for it, row Y, so high up. There was only one row higher than me, and you know you get a view of the whole away end, a view of the whole pitch, and it was a good seat. It was a good seat. And that, yeah, the noise carries so well in grounds like that, an old-fashioned ground, but regardless of how it carried or how anything, the setup of the stadium, that away end was relentless. We were singing start to finish, and it was bouncing in there. And we give the players a good send-off, a good end to the season. Of course, the Club World Cup, I don't know if it counts as this season or next season. I don't know how to feel about it. You can let me know how you feel about it. I mean, I'll speak more about that probably on my TikTok, but I don't know, we've not experienced anything like that, have we? You know, we never been. I mean, it's the first time we've ever been a part of this new format, this new thing. Of course, I mean, there's a lot of prize money for if we win it. So we're City needing to somewhat rebuild in summer. Should we really target it? But then if we go all the way in that, we're going to be knackered for the start of the season. Look, I want to win this Premier League. The only thing about this league is, as much as it's been nice seeing De Bruyne send off, and it's been, you know, a decent end to the season for City. It's horrible watching Match of the Day and then seeing that red lot lift the trophy. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we've got to win it back next season. We've got to be back, and the Club World Cup would probably hinder the start to next season. So I don't know how to feel about it. You can let me know how you feel in the comments, but we'll sort of just approach it and see how we feel when the time comes, I think. But anyway, I'm going to end this one here because I have spoke about pretty much everything I've needed to speak about as far as the City Fulham game. I don't have loads of time to film. That's why it's not one of my longest ones that, you know, I normally do. Post-match reactions are normally quite a decent bit of time, but I don't have loads of time to film, but I just wanted to make sure I get it out the day after the game. That's when I normally try and get them out, and successful is what I say. But yeah, like I said, of course, it's going to be a good bit of time before City kick a ball again in the Premier League anyway. Like I said, Club World Cup, we'll address that when it comes to it. But there will be quite a few videos out on here over the summer break, the season finish, you know, transfer videos, speculation videos, players leaving, players coming in, a season review in a few days. There's going to be a lot to be discussed. So subscribe to the channel if you've not already. If there's anything you want to see, anything you think I should make a video on, then either leave a comment or drop me a message on Instagram, Man City fan. I'm open to ideas because I want to keep this consistent. I don't want to just film this last post-match review and then come back to you when the season starts. There's going to be a lot I want to talk about and make videos on. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, turn the notification on so you know when I've made a video, or follow me on Instagram or TikTok, whatever, because I'll post them everywhere. So yeah, follow me and everything. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thank you for the support on the 24-25 season. I've done quite a few games, quite a few videos on it, and yeah, I've had a lot of support over the season, so thank you. Lots of bigger and better things next season as well, as far as me and Manchester City. A better season next season, fingers crossed. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in a few days for the season review. Come on, City.